Welcome to The Explainer. So let's just dive right into it. Today, we're exploring a deeply important phase of life that our source material calls the freedom years. Now, specifically, we're tackling a topic that, let's be honest, most of us would really rather avoid, but it is absolutely crucial. We're talking about how proactive end-of-life planning can actually be the greatest gift you ever leave your loved ones. Ultimately, it's about leaving a legacy, not a problem.
Let's ground all of this in reality with the story of Jack and Anna. So Jack was a disciplined, highly active guy. We're talking about a fit cross-country skier who took exceptional care of his health. He also handled literally all of his family's financial and legal affairs. But then, on a completely routine drive home one summer afternoon, Jack suffered a sudden, massive heart attack. It took his life without any warning whatsoever, and in an absolute instant, his wife Anna was left not only utterly heartbroken, but completely disoriented.
Because right away, with Jack gone, Anna found herself trapped in this incredibly stressful conflict. She firmly believed Jack would have wanted a traditional, elaborate Eastern European funeral, even though it was a huge financial strain. But on the other hand, her eldest son thought they really needed to be practical and keep expenses down, while her youngest son just wanted to fulfill his mother's wishes, no matter the cost. So without Jack's clear directions left behind, the family was immediately pulled in opposing, emotionally charged directions.
And that brings us to the crucial point here. There is a massive gap in preparation. While a staggering 90% of people say that talking about end-of-life planning is important, get this, only 27% actually have a plan in place. That gap right there, that is where families fall apart, which is exactly why we're going to systematically look at 6 key professionals who can prevent your family from becoming part of that tragic statistic.
Section 1. The Final Farewell. Navigating the Immediate Aftermath.
So, our very first professional is the funeral director. 70 plus. That is the staggering number of decisions a family has to make just to lay a loved one to rest. We're talking everything from caskets and legal documentation, right down to catering and transportation. In Canada, doing all of this averages around $10,000. But when you pre-plan, a good funeral director will actually walk you through about 90% of these choices in advance, and that creates an incredible safeguard. It stops your family from making emotionally charged, expensive decisions during an incredibly volatile and vulnerable time.
Along those same lines, we have the pastor or spiritual leader. A pastor is there to help families find spiritual strength and to structure a celebration of life. But just imagine how much easier it is if you plan that ahead of time. If you have this meeting while you're still here, you spare your loved ones the agonizing stress of guessing what you would have wanted. You get to dictate your preferred scriptures, your favorite songs, and most importantly, you get to share your final words of wisdom and the exact legacy that you want to leave behind.
Section 2. Legal and Financial Affairs. Protecting your family.
Now here is where our third professional, the lawyer, steps in. Over 70% of people do not have an up-to-date will, and if you're in that group, you are leaving your family wildly exposed. Because without a will, guess who steps in? A government judge. They appoint your executor, not you. The government decides who cares for any minor children, and your assets are divided up based on rigid government rules. The whole thing just becomes a lengthy, costly, and bitterly frustrating process for the exact people you love the most.
So, to actually empower your loved ones, you really should create an executor's binder. Just imagine your loved one walking into the lawyer's office fully equipped. It's like a master key to your life. This binder should have a notarized will, safety deposit box info, a crystal clear list of assets and liabilities, digital passwords, and vital contacts like pension providers and doctors. Handing this over means your executor can sit in that office feeling fully prepared and stress-free.
Okay, next up, the fourth professional, the accountant. You know the old saying, nothing is certain but death and taxes? Well, the government absolutely agrees. They still expect their dues through what are called terminal taxes. Basically, the final tax returns filed after someone passes away. Now, remember Jack? Because he kept all the financial details locked up tight in a cabinet and never really looped Anna in, she was severely agitated and completely lost when it came to settling these terminal taxes. So preparing your accountant by organizing 7 years of T1 returns and T-slips in advance is literally an absolute necessity to prevent that kind of panic.
Section 3. Managing the estate. Dealing with the physical legacy.
This next reality from our source material is just really heartbreaking. Completely overwhelmed by a deteriorating 4-bedroom house, and getting totally conflicting advice from her 2 sons about what to do with it, Anna literally sat crying on her bedroom floor saying, "Oh God, if only Jack were here, he would know what to do." And honestly, that perfectly captures the emotional paralysis that hits you when dealing with an unplanned physical estate.
See, her older son really wanted her to downsize and invest the money, while her younger son wanted her to keep the family home purely for nostalgic reasons. And this is exactly where our fifth professional, a realtor, steps in as a real game changer. A good realtor cuts right through all that heavy emotion by offering a comparative market analysis and highly objective cost-benefit advice. For Anna, this professional guidance gave her the clarity and confidence to make the choice that was actually right for her, downsizing to a low-maintenance home near her youngest son.
But look, deciding to move is really only half the battle, right? The physical move itself is hugely daunting. Thankfully, a friend stepped in and gave Anna this highly practical 4-step downsizing plan. Step 1, tackle just one room at a time so you don't get overwhelmed. Step 2, only keep the essentials that you've actually used in the last 2 years. Step 3, carefully pack up those really sentimental items. And Step 4, map out the layout of the new home so you know exactly where everything is going to fit. It's a brilliant way to take a seemingly impossible task and make it completely manageable.
And finally, we meet our sixth professional, the liquidator. Let's be real for a second. Here is a hard truth. Often, our kids just simply do not have the space, or let's face it, the stylistic taste, to store a lifetime of our stuff. They probably don't want that massive antique dining table. So, for the items Anna's children couldn't take, a liquidator stepped in. For a 25 to 40% commission, they handled the whole shebang, professionally photographing items, running online auctions, donating whatever didn't sell, and even cleaning the house. It gave Anna an immense, final sense of relief.
Section 4. Your next steps. Giving the greatest gift.
When we look back at Jack's failure to plan, we know he was a great man, but his lack of foresight caused his family immense stress. To avoid making that same painful mistake, I want to leave you with this provocative challenge. Look at the 6 professionals we've unpacked today: the funeral director, the pastor, the lawyer, the accountant, the real estater, and the liquidator. What is your readiness score for each of them? And honestly, more importantly, what is your immediate next step? I highly encourage you to discuss this exact framework with your family today. Because taking the time to repair right now isn't just about doing paperwork, it is, for sure, the ultimate act of love. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you on the next one.